Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're looking at running for president.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red cake.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will not become president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president.
Moderator, but apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to
Let's see, I'm at 42 and you're at 3.
We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
So, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8th electoral vote, in Indiana with its 11th electoral vote, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio, Idaho, North Carolina.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Together, we will make America great again.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to CobraCast IRL. I am your host, D-Day Cobra, the most important show on YouTube with IRL in the name. The most viewers, the most super chats, the most members, and the best guests. And we have tonight my good buddy Rolo, the Puerto Rican pistolero from Locked and Loaded Latinos. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Despite all the crazy shit that's going on, that's been going on today. But, you know, that's what we're here to talk about, because at the end, I think this is all going to blow up in their faces. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So too. I apologize. This is my 4th stream today, guys. And so I'm trying. We just literally got off a 4-hour Tuesday night's main event. I needed to eat.
I bailed out and I got my pizza.
So I'm trying. This guy right here, this guy was pissed. Said unsubscribe, took too long, can't trust you. So
I was laughing at that.
I'm like, damn, bro. Like, I literally just got up a 4-hour stream, and this is my 4th today. And this was just because I haven't seen the speech, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So yeah, I'm sorry. Swig of vanilla Coke for the working man. But whoo, here we go. Tough crowd tonight. So but I'm happy because I get to listen to the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, and his speech tonight. I don't know what he said. I heard a lot of people complimenting it. And a lot of times with Trump, his speeches, he kind of just goes off the cuff, and he kind of rambles, and he kind of takes shots and all of that. And I like those speeches for rally purposes, but when he's a little more on point and he's got a general message, he's really effective. So I'm assuming that's kind of what he's going to do tonight. with this one. So let's get into it. You guys are blowing up the chat already. I see the gifted memberships. I see the super chats. I see it. I appreciate it so much. Snake Pit, rise up. CobraCast, the #1 show on YouTube with IRL in the name. Man, Dominic says Jeremy Drake soda, gay confirmed. All right. Rolo, why don't you share the link? And I'm going to pull up. Give me just a minute. I'm going to pull up. Let me see. Man, there's so much going on right now.
You got to get to 23 minutes in the video. 23
minutes? Okay.
Because it's like just like an intro screen for about 10 minutes, and then it's him walking in and everybody clapping and everything, and then finally he starts around 23 minutes.
Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to share my screen right here. Share screen. So about 23 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. Just a little bit before that.
All right. I don't even care if we get hit on the Lee Greenwood song. We're playing the fucking intro. We're playing the intro, boys. We're playing the intro. Let me full screen it. And before we get started, I want to talk to all of you for a minute, see how you're doing in the chat. I see all your super chats coming in. Let me see if I can pull up the live stream. I got people unsubscribing because they can't trust me. Like, fuck this guy. How dare him try to stream for all of us and run a few minutes late. I know some people don't know about Geeks and Gamers, so I get it. People are just like, I get it. Magnum Norris for $5. These crazies want to take the death pill. Don't do it. Or want you to take the death pill. Don't do it. Let's see. We got Kyle says Valkyria. Spirian for $1.99. Thank you. Celluloid Dream. Figaro. Josh Wright, I got suspended on Twitter for my first tweet. Well, that's pretty impressive. Stacy S, glad you're here, Rolo. Drop your knowledge to the snake pit.
Thank you.
Josie Pure Blood, great show tonight on Tuesday night's main event. We need to hold our ground and never give an inch to those who hate us for the love of our country. Hail CobraCast, hail Snake Pit, hail Team G&G. Cheers. Thank you. We got 5 gifted memberships earlier. I think Eric K was telling me who it was. Hang on, and I will tell you. Casey. So it's 5 D-Day Cobra memberships from Casey. Thank you. Flag Ninja becomes a member. Thank you. East Coast Toasty Boy, I listened to it on John Burt's stream. He started talking noise about the judge near the end, which is a mistake pre-trial. Hopefully, he still wins. So he started talking about the judge.
I'm not surprised, though.
That's Trump, baby. That's Donald Trump. So let's get this party started. Let's see what happened. Quality. We bump up the quality. We'll just go 720, I think, on the quality. And how far in? All right, here we go. All right. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier with some gifted memberships. We're just going to lay back. This is going to be a chill stream. All right?
Who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Song always gets me because it always makes me think of September 11th, too.
I love it so much.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston.
Shit, I was muted. This is the type of patriotic passion that we're missing right here in this country. We're missing this, and it's driving me crazy.
Yep.
Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt.
Such an amazing song, man.
It is. It is.
I'm muted right now, guys, so you don't hear me chewing. I'm in the middle of.
I gotta get this now. I get a flag here. I drape a flag over the seat.
Thank you very much, everybody. And we have to save our country. God bless you all. God bless you all. And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. From the beginning, the Democrats spied on my campaign. Remember that? They attacked me with an onslaught of fraudulent investigations. Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Impeachment hoax number 1. Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal and unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago, right here. They're lying to the FISA courts, the FBI and DOJ relentlessly pursuing Republicans, the unconstitutional changes to election laws by not getting approvals from state legislators, the millions of votes illegally stuffed into ballot boxes and all caught on government cameras. And just recently, the FBI and DOJ in collusion with Twitter and Facebook in order not to say anything bad about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which exposes the Biden family as criminals and which, according to the pollsters, would have made a 17-point difference in the election result. And we needed a lot less than that, like about 16.9. It would have been in our favor, not my favor, our favor, because our country is going to hell. And we remember the 51 intelligence agents who said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. It didn't exist. It was Russian disinformation. Remember that? And that was all confirmed strongly by the FBI when they all knew that it wasn't Russian disinformation. And so much more. Our elections were like those of a third world country. And now this massive election interference at a scale never seen before in our country, beginning with the radical left, George Soros-backed prosecutor Alvin Bragg of New York, who campaigned on the fact that he would get President Trump. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. This is a guy campaigning. He wanted to get President Trump at any cost, and this before he knew anything about me, didn't know a thing about me. He was campaigning. As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime and that it should never have been brought. Never have been brought. Everybody. Even people that aren't big fans have said it. They said this is not the right thing to do. It's an insult to our country, as the world is already laughing at us for so many other reasons, like our open borders, our incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan, where we left behind American citizens, 85.
I'm eating crackers. For those asking, and everybody's asking. I'm in the middle of like between 4-hour streams, so I had to get something to eat. So my apologies. Figure it's a good time to eat and listen to 45. So far, good speech.
$5 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world. Lost 13 magnificent young lives, and far too many to mention that are so badly hurt with the loss of arms and legs and facial obliteration. The most embarrassing time in our country's history, in my opinion. Then our give up on energy independence and even energy dominant. We're going to be dominant within 6 months, more than any other nation ×2. We had this all just 3 years ago. Our raging crime statistics, if you look in Democrat-run cities, numbers the likes of which we have never seen before. The open threats by various countries of the use of nuclear weapons, something never mentioned or discussed by outside nations during the Trump administration, and which could very well lead under the Biden administration's leadership to an all-out nuclear World War III. Can happen. We're not very far away from it, believe it or not. An economy that has been crippled by the biggest inflation we have seen in more than 60 years, and a military that I used to defeat ISIS in 4 weeks. They said it would take 4 years. 4 weeks. To kill al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, that has now gone woke at the top levels by trying to indoctrinate everyone down to the lowest ranking patriot.
This is why they hate him so bad. Like, he's just going to call everything out. He's going to call it all out. And what did he say? He said within 24 hours he would have the Ukraine, Russia situation done. In 24 hours he would have it done. And I believe him. And they don't want that. They want wars. So again, I think Jack Posobiec tweeted it out. And he said, of all the presidents we've had in our lifetime, only one has not gotten us into a war.
Yep.
And they've indicted him.
Well, and they hated him too because look, everything that he said was true. None of the European countries, they weren't contributing to NATO. They weren't upgrading their militaries. They weren't keeping up with all that. And then he's like, Russia's going to come and basically fuck everything up, and you guys aren't doing shit. And then he was right.
It's just insane. It's insane. Here we go.
But now they have really stepped up their efforts by indicting the 45th president of the United States, who received $75 million votes, which is more than any sitting president in the history of our country. And in the wings, they've got a local racist Democrat district attorney in Atlanta who is doing everything in her power to indict me over an absolutely perfect phone call, even more perfect than the one I made with the president of Ukraine.
A perfect phone call, even more perfect. Well,
remember, I kept saying, that's a perfect call. This one was more perfect. Nobody said, sir, you shouldn't say that. Many people on the phone were hung up in disgust because of something I inappropriately said, because nothing was said wrong. In fact, at the end of the call, we agreed to continue our conversation about election fraud, and election fraud specifically in Georgia at a later time. Many people on the phone, including lots of lawyers, nobody found anything wrong with that perfect call until a book promotion tour many months later. All of a sudden they say, I remember Trump making a call. Let's look at that. This fake case was brought only to interfere with.
I couldn't imagine, like, the way that he has to operate, like every single interaction he has, and not even the direct interactions, the interactions that are like separated from interaction. Like, this man has to be so careful with every single decision and interaction that he makes, everything he does, everywhere he goes, every website he visits. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yep.
I do like how he's putting so much emphasis on the perfect phone call, the best phone call ever. Fucking so funny.
With the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately. Then you have a radical left lunatic known as a bomb thrower who is harassing hundreds of my people day after day over the boxes hoax. You know, the boxes hoax, as we call it. Just so everyone knows, I come under what's known as the Presidential Records Act, which was designed and approved by Congress long ago just for this reason. Under the act, I'm supposed to negotiate with NARA, the National Archives and Records Administration, which as of this date is a radical left troublemaking organization that red flags the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as dangerous and triggering. Can you imagine? This is what we have to deal with. But there is no criminality under the Presidential Records Act. That is not what it's all about. We were negotiating in very good faith, proper way, in order to return some or all of the documents that I openly and in very plain sight brought with me to Mar-a-Lago from our beautiful White House, just as virtually every other president has done in the past. When FBI and DOJ officials with NARA were here, I told my lawyer to show them the very secure storage room in which they were locked. The FBI's sole request in writing was, could you please put another lock on the door? We immediately complied. It's a lot different than the Biden situation, isn't it? The next thing I know, we were raided by many gun-toting FBI agents who took whatever they wanted, including my passports and medical records. Everybody was in shock. Nobody had ever heard of such a raid before. We can't even believe it. Who would think that that could happen today? I immediately thought of the Fourth Amendment that protects against unreasonable search and seizure. But they did it anyway because our justice system has become lawless. They're using it now, in addition to everything else, to win elections. Apparently, they're not looking at me through the view of the non-criminal Presidential Records Act. They came up with a new one. This is a new one. And they're looking at me through the Espionage Act. Think of that. How does that sound? Of 1917, where the penalty is death. Even though that has absolutely nothing to do with openly taking boxes of documents and mostly clothing and other things to my home, which President Obama has done, the Bushes have done, Jimmy Carter's done, Ronald Reagan has done. Everybody's done. In fact, Hillary Clinton got rid of 33,000 emails, and that was okay. But nobody's done it like Joe Biden. This lunatic special prosecutor named Jack Smith, I wonder what it was prior to a change, who others of his ilk say he is even worse than they are, is only looking at Trump, yet Joe Biden took massive amounts more documents, even removed many boxes to Chinatown. You believe that? Just got 10 minutes.
A few have been asking if I got the Streamlabs link. Yes, I do. Right here, about to drop it in the chat now. Grift here, right there. Okay, so my apologies. Like I said, I'm scrambling since I just got off Tuesday night's main event. But so far, I'm loving this speech so far. I don't know how much of you had already seen Rollo, but how you
just like. Yeah, just about the first 5 minutes. So
okay,
this is already more than I watched before.
Like it's insane. It's insane that we are in this position right now.
Yep.
Flag Ninja for 20. I'm a former Marine with combat deployments in both Afghanistan and Iraq between 2003 and 2007. I will forever be grateful that Trump didn't start a war because that means he saved kids like I used to be from that experience. Yeah, man, the lives that were saved under Trump's administration. Again, war is a big business. It's a massive business, and there's a lot of people that make a lot of money from war. And so him not starting these new wars, it's a huge problem for not even just people on the left, because the right is okay with it too. I mean, George W. Bush is the biggest warmonger that we've ever had.
Lindsey Graham doesn't know a war. He's never seen a war he doesn't want us to go into.
Exactly.
And then like John Bolton was there back. That was a bad pick on Trump's part to bring him in, because we all know that guy just wants wars everywhere. But,
yeah, absolutely. Dan Sieverton says, Rolo's here. Fuck yeah. Damn right. Subscribe to Locked and Loaded Latinos. Arthur Brown says, why do I have a vagine next to my name? The Cobra logo. I've heard that for a long time. Gruff says Biden would have gotten lost 12 times minimum walking that crowd. Absolutely. Dude, I don't know. I've always wondered if this person was a troll. I have no idea, but this is a phenomenal comment regardless. If this is a troll, it's great. If it's true, I guess it's great too. The Dr. 14 Blu-rays for $5. My trans uncle is American. He was born a woman, but is now a man. And if Trump gets him arrested just for being trans, I will get angry.
That's
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Arthur Brown says, I wish Australia's two big parties had a guy like Trump. Hell yes. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that one. All right, let's get back to
$1 million from China. Where did that come from? I guess they were banking on Hunter's expertise and had others stored in unsecured offices in Pennsylvania and strewn all over his garage.
I guess, on what planet do you think Trump's going to arrest your trans uncle?
I know.
What are you talking about?
It's not going to happen. Just don't want people to mess with kids, man. Like, it's
Trump has never threatened to arrest any LGBTQ plus IAC3PO person ever. What are you talking about? Good Lord. All right, back to
floor where his now very famous Corvette is also stored all over the floor, including classified documents. But that's okay. Perhaps most importantly, he has 1,850 boxes in Delaware, which he is refusing to give up. But isn't that real obstruction? That's obstruction. As president, I have the right to declassify documents, and the process is automatic. If I take them with me, it's automatic, declassify. Biden was vice president. He had absolutely no right to declassify as vice president. He doesn't come under the non-criminal Presidential Records Act. He comes under the very criminal Federal Records Act, unfortunately for him, but it's not going to matter because they don't follow the law, which has.
This speech was live a few hours ago, around 8:30 Eastern or 8:15 Eastern Standard Time is when he had the speech. We were live. Me and Rolo and other members of the Geeks Gamers team were all live on Tuesday night's main event, so we weren't able to react to it. I know Rumble was crashed through this, so I couldn't set up a Rumble link. So for those of you that usually watch, I couldn't. I tried to set up a Rumble link and I couldn't. It wouldn't let me. Now I think Rumble has been restored now, but I couldn't at the time set up a Rumble link. So this was a few hours ago.
There's very severe penalties. He had classified documents that he took while he was a senator, which is absolutely inexcusable. And other senators, including Democrats, are outraged. But he's not being harassed and hounded like the people who work for me are. In fact, they seem to have forgotten about his documents entirely. So many, thousands and thousands. It's okay with him. They like to say that I'm obstructing, which I'm not, because I was working with NARA very nicely until the raid on my home. But Biden is obstructing by making it impossible to get the 1,850 boxes or explain why many documents were located in Chinatown. Can't explain it. Why were they in Chinatown? I don't know. Lastly, I'm under investigation. This time a civil investigation by another racist in reverse who also campaigned on, I will get Trump. I will get him. This was her campaign. Never ran for office. I will get him.
Yeah, his breathing's a little funny. A little breathing he's doing, but he's had a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Letitia James. And she proclaimed while campaigning, quote, I look forward to going into the office of the Attorney General every single day, suing him, and then going home. Before she knew me. She announced, what is fueling my soul right now is Trump. And that she had her eyes on Trump Tower. Those eyes are focused on Trump Tower. Didn't know the young lady. She even assured her supporters in an election promise that we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally. And then she claimed that I was an illegitimate president. Think of that. With all we did on energy, with all we did on the military, on taxes, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, right to try, people able to get drugs now that aren't approved. Hopefully you don't have that problem. Letitia James vowed to use every area of the law to, quote, investigate President Trump and his business transactions. Those transactions are going to be investigated, she said. And that of her family and his family, because we're going after his family and we're going after them hard. This is all before entering office and all before knowing anything at all about me, but you're going to get me. This is why, along with unrelenting crime, so many people and companies are leaving New York. She said that I falsified my financial statements, but in fact, we're proving and will prove that my financial statements were substantially more than we submitted, not less. And in all cases, have a strong disclaimer clause in them, which tells the institutions that may look at that if they want to, not to rely on the statement. But they've got a problem with their case because, number one, I'm very underleveraged. They can't believe it, all the stuff they read and gave, and have very little debt relative to the value of assets. And importantly, not one bank has lost even $1. She was investigating me to save banks. They have very good lawyers. But they didn't lose $1 with us during this period of time. In fact, the banks we're talking about made almost $200 million off Donald Trump, and they liked me very much. We never missed a payment, never got a default notice, had a great relationship with all of them. I don't need banks. We have a lot of cash. I built a great business with my family, built a fantastic business.
That's another aspect of it too, is that the family is constantly under scrutiny.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, God, man, like Don Jr., Eric, like they've compared to Hunter Biden and they focus in on Don Jr. and Eric over Hunter Biden. I mean, the system is so broken and so rigged that it's not even funny at this point in time. It's really not. Do I think he's exhausted? I mean, I think like Trump always does breathe like that. It's probably a little bit heavier now. I mean, the dude was on the plane all day, traveled. So, and he's got to be under some stress. Like this is a lot. This is a lot for any human being, especially a 77-year-old dude. So.
I have a son here who's done a great job, and I have another son here who's done a great job. Tiffany. And Ivanka and Barron will be great someday. He's tall. He is tall and he's smart. But I have a great family and they've done a fantastic job and we appreciate it very much. They've gone through hell. So she's suing me over banks that weren't defrauded when she should be focused on violent crime that's driving people out of the state. This is a persecution, not an investigation. She's put our family through hell. It's cost hundreds of millions of dollars to defend, but our heads are held very, very high. They want to settle the case, but I want no part of that. So here we are now. It's where we were today, in a city that was so great just 4 or 5 years ago. But now we're there, spend time there today, as you possibly read, with a local failed district attorney charging a former president of the United States for the first time in history on a basis that every single pundit and legal analyst said, there is no case. There's no case. They kept saying, there's no case. Virtually everyone. But it's far worse than that because he knew there was no case. That's why last week he delayed for a month and then immediately took that back and threw this ridiculous indictment together. Came out today, everybody said, this is not really an indictment. There's nothing here. My lawyers came to me and they said, there's nothing here. They're not even saying what you did. The criminal is the district attorney because he illegally leaked massive amounts of grand jury information, for which he should be prosecuted, or at a minimum, he should resign. And Alvin Bragg's wife confirmed a report that claimed her husband has Trump nailed on felonies. She has since locked down her Twitter account. His chief prosecutor, who represented the Democrats and crooked Hillary Clinton and a firm run by Chuck Schumer's brother, Robert, he quit the firm in order to go to work in the DA office in order to get Trump. Can you imagine that? Hillary Clinton's lawyer, Democrat firm. Ultimately, he quit as chief prosecutor because Bragg didn't think he had a case. Think of the same guy that brought this ridiculous thing today. Yet during his investigation, this prosecutor named Mark Pomerantz wrote and published a book saying all sorts of privileged things and has been very strongly reprimanded. He was reprimanded so strongly. I've never seen anything like it. That's probably the end of it. But what he did was probably very illegal, but he was very, very strongly reprimanded. Even District Attorney Bragg was furious with him. They were having a tremendous fight in the office because of it. But hope is never lost because various prosecutors in the DA's office also quit because they thought President Trump was being treated very unfairly. How about that? Isn't that great? Oh, I love them. I'd like to meet them. I'd like to meet them. The DA's office even had a webpage. Meet the team of executives who have done this to President Trump. That was the title. Isn't that nice? They immediately had to take it down. Meanwhile, overall crime in New York was up 30% last year. Much more than that the year before, with felony assaults, robberies, and burglaries all up by massive, massive numbers. Not the same place that I know, not the same place that you know. And this is where we are right now. I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it. We recently had another trial, and the same judge told the fine man who worked for me for many, many years that if you admit your guilt, you will be in jail for 90 days. But if you don't, if we go through a trial and you're found guilty, you're going away for 10 years and maybe longer. which for a 75-year-old man with a great family really means life. What the prosecutors and judge did to that man, I will never forget, because it's right out of the old Soviet Union. That's where we are. They said, you say anything about Trump, meaning that's bad, and you won't even have to serve the 90 days. You'll walk free. And they say that to many of my employees. We have this Jack Smith lunatic threatening people every single day through his representatives. They're threatening jail terms. But talk about Trump and you'll go free. This is where we are as a nation. Who would have thought? They can't beat us at the ballot box, so they try and beat us through the law. That's the country in which we live, however, right now. The USA is a mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is out of control. Russia has joined with China. Can you believe that? Saudi Arabia has joined with Iran. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have formed together as a menacing and destructive coalition. Would have never happened if I were your president. Would never have happened. Nor would Russia attacking Ukraine have happened. All of those lives would be saved. All of those beautiful cities would be standing. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years. There will be no defeat like that. That will take us away from being even a great power. If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. Incredibly, we are now a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. We can't let that happen. With all of this being said, and with a very dark cloud.
Hang on. Highlighter on. I will have CobraCast tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll have CobraCast tomorrow. I don't want both my balls grabbed and yanked.
Damn.
No scenarios that sound good. So, but I was always going to. So, yeah.
Over our beloved country. I have no doubt, nevertheless, that we will make America great again. Thank you very much. And God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Fantastic speech.
That was good. Yeah, that was very good.
Fantastic speech.
Hopefully they don't gig you for the music.
I don't think so.
What they might gig you for, what they might gig you for.
Camera.
What they might gig you for is YouTube doesn't like when you talk about things that happened in 2020.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't know. I know when Tim Pool played it, he had to say, Trump believes this, but Tim Cass doesn't endorse that theory.
Yeah,
I was like, really?
Whatever. So
yeah.
If YouTube's listening, I just want you to know that I will be voting for Donald Trump in 2024 without a shadow of a doubt. I voted for him in 2020, voted for him in 2016, and I'm always gonna support my great President Trump. So, all right. So a lot to unpack there, but ultimately it was a really solid speech, and he kind of really drove the points home, and he kind of was pretty aggressive. He was pretty aggressive, which I greatly appreciated.
I think I think that's the way he's got to be at this point, and that's why people want him back. You know, as much as I appreciate how good of a governor DeSantis has been in Florida, Trump, if DeSantis goes in there, I think he's going to try to make peace. I think that's what he's going to try to do. And at this point, I don't want that. I don't want peace. I want these people to be held responsible. I want them to go after the bureaucratic state, fire everybody. investigate things. I don't want anything to be accomplished in 4 years other than cleaning house. That's it. The U.S. can be on a break for 4 years. We don't get involved with anybody else until we clean our house here, because I think that's pretty much the last thing that we can do. And he's going to be the only one that I think could do it. I used to not believe that in the past. I'll be honest. In 2016, I personally thought Trump, I was like, Trump's been a Democrat all his life. Why would I trust him? I thought he was a plant from the Democrats personally, because I was like, this is just too good of a scenario. You've got Hillary and you got Trump, but Trump proved me wrong. And I voted for him in 2020, and I'm going to support him now, just because I can't think of a president in my lifetime that's been better. You know, I was born at the end of Reagan, but I don't remember any of that. Bush was crap. Listen, he was the head of the CIA. He said he wasn't going to increase taxes. He did that. We got Clinton, which Clinton kind of brought the last power play of the Republicans with Newt Gingrich and the Contract of America. And that was kind of a balance there, because politics was still not quite what it is today. And then, of course, we get September 11th, Bush and the endless wars. Yep. Obama basically came in and shattered the unity that we had. I know when I was growing up in college, we didn't talk about racism. We didn't have anything like that. Everybody was cool. You could make politically incorrect jokes, and if somebody was offended, you talk about it, and you're like, oh, cool. Well, I didn't realize that bothered you, and that's it. You move on the rest of the day. Then they came in and blew all that up, and now this is where we're at today and why Trump was president.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is just... It's mind blowing. I want to go back to that $20 super chat. Just so Dan C says, so Trump is definitely a shit disturber, but not great on two-way, allowed bump stock ban by AFT and set bad precedents. And that's one of the, definitely the consistent criticisms of him on this bump stock situation. Explain that to some of the audience that may not know. So Rolo is a very, very knowledgeable, very passionate two-way supporter. He and his wife, that's what Locked and Loaded Latinos is all about. So explain that. And so thank you, Dan.
After the Las Vegas shooting, which was, the worst in history, mass murder, there were a lot of questions going around, like, what did this guy use? He had bump stocks, or he had machine guns, and blah, blah, blah. So that was one of the concerns. And, Trump's not really a gun guy. He's a New Yorker. I know Junior likes to go out hunting and things like that. But I always think that Trump kind of trusted his daughter more than he did his sons, at least when he was the president. So, he was trying to, I believe that was early on. Look, I thought it was a bad move on his part. It empowered the ATF to kind of take away, remove bump stocks, and kind of set this precedent that they're using today. But ultimately, when you look at early Trump, I think Trump always talked about draining the swamp when he campaigned. I personally think he underestimated how bad DC was and how much they really hated him. He was going in there. I thought he was like, this is politics, man. They're going to talk shit. It's not a big deal. And when I get in there, we can figure this out. Like, I can make deals with anybody. And when he got in there, they're like, we're not going to deal with you. Like, yeah. And he was like, this is crazy. I can't believe this. And I think he was taken aback by how bad they were. And it took him almost like the first year and a half, like it took him that year and a half to figure it out. And he made some bad decisions. He did the cruise missile strike in Syria, which at first people were like, oh no, he's going to go down the neocon path. But he pulled back on that and didn't do, any more conflicts after that. I think taking out Soleimani was a good move. Iran is pretty fucked up, so Soleimani. So I don't feel bad about that. And that's pretty much it that he did on the offensive front. And obviously, he tried to bring in the people that he thought were the best, and he has no political experience. So I was pretty critical of him early on in his presidency. My dad and I would like debate all the time. I'd be like, he should know better. Like, these people are so much worse. And he's like, look, man, what do you expect the guy to do? And so I've kind of tempered back, and that's how I feel about it. And the gun issue is one of those things, because I think at this point, there's no way that Trump is going to support any gun control if he's the president. I think that ship is sailed, and it's like a few things in his presidency. The pandemic probably could have been handled better. Like, Fauci should have been out, but this is now hindsight 2020, and you have to realize that he's a New Yorker. He's a big city New Yorker. He's not like your traditional conservative, and he shoots from the hip. He's a very instinctual guy. Yep. And he's old school in that regard. And sometimes it bites him in the ass, because, if somebody approaches him the right way, he'll give them that trust. And I think that sometimes he gives people, he's too, for somebody that everybody's like, this guy's an asshole, you're fired. He does give people the benefit of the doubt. He has that empathy. I've seen with how he deals with people. And sometimes I'm like, man, you're not as mean as they say you are. And sometimes you should be that way. So
100%. BK says someone let Jeremy know that Trump didn't name Ivanka tonight for naming his family members. Yeah, I noticed that. I would think that's more about her saying that she wants out of politics. You know, she's focusing on the family stuff now. She just doesn't want to be dragged into anything. And I can see that. And I'm sure that Trump just leaves her name out of that to try to respect her wishes and so she can detach as much as possible. You know what I mean? And you know, shockingly enough, women aren't built for that type of stuff as well as men. You know, it's interesting. But I think Ivanka's a very smart woman. I do. I don't necessarily like Jared Kushner.
Yeah.
But so did he say Ivanka's name? Oh, let's see. Oh, okay. Well, there you go then. So he did. So I'm wrong then. We were too busy listening through or talking or eating or whatever I was doing. So all right, well there we go then. Ivanka is a very attractive woman. I'm glad that Jared Kushner is no longer involved by default because she said that she's wanting to get out. So Alec Baldwin's finger, who don't miss, and we got you had a super chat directed towards Graham Nolan, and I apologize for missing that. But I will try to get that message to him to get that question answered for you. Trump extended an olive branch to the left with the bump stock ban. The left used it against him anyways. I don't agree with it, but the bump stocks were kind of dumb in my opinion. What do you think about that, Rolo?
It's kind of the bump stocks. It's not necessarily a lot of things you have to realize with guns and gun rights. It's kind of the principle behind the matter because it's always they always take. We get very little in gun rights when it comes to the federal government, especially over the last few decades. States' rights, obviously, we've increased constitutional carry or permitless carry to more than half the country now, which is a huge achievement. And what I will say to this is, we look back, a lot of people like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is overrated. He did a lot of bad things for gun rights too in California with the Mulberry Act and all that. But he also made a big mistake too. He took a deal from the Democrats that made 3 million illegals, that gave them amnesty. And a lot of people forget about that. Iran-Contra was also pretty much bullshit in a lot of ways too. You're giving guns and weapons to people who really shouldn't have them. And that was a mess. So, I mean, everybody makes their mistakes. I would argue that those mistakes are a lot worse than some of the ones that Trump made, and Reagan gets a pass. So that's kind of the way you have to look at things. Everybody's going to make mistakes. I think amnesty for 3 million is pretty bad. I also do think that you need to be a student of history. And again, Trump is very instinctual, a little bit more like looking back at that, like, well, look, Reagan kind of got pulled into something like this too. He tried to reconcile with the Democrats. Those were the older school Democrats, not these crazy people. So these people are never going to concede or do anything at this point.
Yep. So there you go. Good answer. I had to go back. So Johnny the Whiz Kid sent a $10 super chat. I never saw it on the back end stuff, so I had to go deeper, and I found it. But he says, "My mom wants to know who appointed the judge to persecute Trump, and how does it work? Also, if the wife and daughter work for Kamala, isn't this a conflict of interest? Can you explain this to her?" I don't know who appointed the judge.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But in terms of, is it a conflict of interest? Yes, but we're not dealing with normal rules with this. Like, none of this makes sense. We're past the statute of limitations. You know what I mean? Like, none of this makes sense. None of this is. There's a reason people say if this was anyone but Donald Trump, these charges would not be brought. So this all of this is so far over the line. There's all types of conflicts of interest. This has been federally investigated, and they decided to not pursue it. It's been looked at multiple times. Stormy Daniels is on record saying that they never even had an affair. Michael Cohen is on record saying, contradicting everything. He's a proven liar. Their case is the flimsiest case on the planet. And yet here we are. And so none of this makes sense by the standard in which we judge these things by, because it's Trump and they're obsessed with taking him down.
I mean, look, it's unprecedented what we've gone through since just before and after Trump became president. Things that you never thought would happen in the United States have happened. people lying to your face about things that were obvious and then coming back a few months later and saying, oh yeah, like maybe you were right all along. Maybe you should roll back some of these policies. Like that's been going, this has kind of shed light, because if this has been going on for the last like 5 or 6 years, how long has it really been going on before we had the chance to expose these things because of the internet, social media, all that stuff, and people leaving paper trails now everywhere, your digital footprint. Like you say with Trump, like he's scrutinized everywhere because they can monitor everything. Whether it's legal or not, they don't care at this point because they want to take him out as a political rival because he's a threat to them. And that's kind of that's what's opened up here, and that's what we've seen now that more people are seeing than ever. But despite that, you know, you get things like what's happening in Wisconsin tonight with that Supreme Court seat there. So this is what, look, the deck is always stacked against you when the media is not on your side. And now you've got big tech, social media that's not on your side too. So besides Twitter, which now, if you saw earlier, it looks like Elon is having news organizations. They put NPR as a state affiliated news organization now. So it's like, oh, they're state media. So that's good. That's a big turnaround there. Even if he's doing it as like, I'm going to troll the shit out of these guys to expose them.
He's having a lot of fun. He's having a lot of fun.
We need to have a lot more of that because we saw how integral Twitter and social media was to influence people and their turnout. If you have a ton of people, if you have like one half of the political spectrum not getting notifications or getting fed, getting shadow banned, things like that, the message doesn't get out there, and people, what do you expect? They're going to be demoralized, and the other side is going to have the benefit of that information pushing people to get out there.
Yeah, and everything is crazy right now. And Lost Tales, I actually have your Alex Stein video pulled up, but I just ran across something else that I got to show really quick. This just hit my feed. I'm reacting to this for the first time. Get ready for this one.
Oh.
Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI plus community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully.
Canada, baby. That is crazy.
What? This is where we're heading. The United States of America is heading.
That's what how the saying goes. Show me who you can't ridicule, and I'll show you who's in charge. There you go. You can't ridicule them, then they're the ones in charge. That's how it is.
Yeah, so this is Canada. I'll replay it for you one more time. New bill would criminalize protests and offensive remarks in parts of Canada. One more time. My God.
Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI plus community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully.
Not a serious country. Not a serious country at all.
Oh my God!
This is why I look. To me, this is the biggest fight. Like I know Ripa agrees with me because Ripa and I always tag team this subject when on Tuesday night's main event, and I go crazy on this on my show. But how do we move forward if you don't even know what you are? Like, how do we have anything? So and like I tell people, if that's now, okay, so truth, justice, and the American way, if that becomes the American way, then America doesn't deserve anything, in my opinion. Like, if that's what America's going to stand for and spread throughout the world, then I'm like, hey, man, we deserve to lose it. Like, that's it. We had a good run, and they took it down. Now, obviously, I'm going to fight to make sure that doesn't happen every day, and we have to ridicule it. That this should be mocked and made fun of. This is ridiculous. Look, everything from the sign on the podium to the person talking there, like she doesn't seem like, is she really serious about this? Like deep inside, do these people really believe it? You got two people with masks back there. You've got those, I don't even know what they are behind there. It looks like, I thought you were playing to me an SNL skit when I first saw it.
It looked like one.
And then I saw the Canadian flag and I was like, oh, this is actually real. It's freaking clown world over here.
Yeah, it looked like an SNL skit. Like it really did. Like, holy shit.
Yep.
What the fuck? Okay, let's see. Personally, I think the right and the left were telling Trump to ban bump stocks because it was making the NFA weapons less desirable.
You're
the expert here on that.
You can use a belt loop too. I mean, it's the symbol. It's the symbol behind it. Look, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, so you're never going to convince me on this one. But I'm also still going to vote for Trump because I'm not a single issue voter at the end of the day. So, and I think that's the nuance that you have to have. Like when you become, this is the difference between us and them. Like as a mature adult that understand how the world works, you know that sometimes you don't want to compromise, but you also have to weigh the options in front of you and say, which one's going to be the better one and which one can be convinced. I can convince Trump that this was a bad decision. I can't convince any Democrat to get rid of gun control. Like that's never going to happen. I know Trump will sit down, listen, and he'll be like, yeah, you're probably right. And I was like, look, man, they're always trying to get you. This is what they're going to do. And these are the tactics that they use. You can't give them a bone because they will always take a lot more than that. And I know he would listen, but the opposition won't. So that's pretty much how you have to weigh those options.
Well said. Dan C says, I understand why it happened. Still mad about it. Defund ATF. I might actually vote for Trump 2024. Been voting Libertarian on principle. Living in Western Washington has made me bitter lately. Glad Geeks and Gamers has introduced me to Joe and Rolo because y'all are based as fuck. They're good people, man. They're good people. So
glad to be here.
Thank Ripa for him because I called him up, and if he would have told me they're fucking weirdos and never talked to him again, I would have never tried it. So, but I was impressed with Rolo already, and and then I got to know Joe and Rolo, and then I called Ripa up just to kind of make sure. I'm like, is Rolo going to identify something tomorrow, or is he really this cool? You know what I mean? He goes, oh man, they're cool as hell. So, why did Trump turn himself in to a DA in a state he wouldn't have a chance to win when DeSantis said he wouldn't send Florida after him? Trump could have ignored this. No. All right. So, I mean, ultimately, I don't think DeSantis was going to do anything. I think DeSantis was playing politics when he said that the state of Florida will not get him, or they won't cooperate, because at that point in time, Trump and his team had already determined that they were going to turn themselves in and get arraigned. So it was a really safe play for DeSantis to say that. And he got a lot of likes on Twitter. He got like 100,000 likes when he said this. He still didn't say Trump's name. So there's no scenario where DeSantis was going to not let this happen if Trump says, I'm not going, you're going to have to come down here and drag me out of Florida. If that scenario happens, and then let's say they send the FBI or, whatever in SWAT team, Secret Service, whatever it's going to take. If then DeSantis goes and gets involved, then you're just dealing with a massive shit. And that was never going to happen. DeSantis was never going to do that. So Trump really had no option.
Well, and it was the responsible move for him to do anyway, because if Trump goes down that path, and let's say that DeSantis does back him up, like let's say DeSantis actually is like, all right, you don't want to do it, like we'll play ball. And he's like, that means that now DeSantis is in it. He's in the shit. Like they can call him a traitor if they want to go after him, if they want to go that far. And then you're going to get the federal government involved. And at that point, you're basically asking for a potential civil conflict at that point. And are you ready to go down that path? Trump weighed his options. He's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Plus, I'm going to get so much good PR from this because I'm going to win. He's like, I'm going to win. They haven't been able to get me once. They impeached me. They tried to do all this stuff. They can't get me. I'm going to play the game now. It's BS and everybody's going to see it because I'm Donald Trump. I'm confident about it. So that's the game he's playing. He's playing the long game. If you create a mess here, then look, you're even going to lose a lot of moderate Republicans if that's the path that you go down. They're going to be like, nope. Everybody was right. He's crazy. He just wants to take over the country. So that's not the game you can play there.
Yeah, the whole thing is just wild, dude. It really is. And Let me see. Let me catch up on a few. Let's see. We got this one. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. There's Australia. Martin Kohler says, I wish I could do more, but I lost my job. Keep up the great videos. Gonna watch until Mario Brothers starts. Have fun, everyone. Never apologize if you can't do more. Again, not one single person, and there's 1,800 people watching this stream. Thank you so much. Not one person watching this stream owes me $1 of your money. You owe me nothing. And I have to earn that. And that's only if you have the resources and the means to do it. And if you don't, then fine. You can enjoy watching me for the rest of the time for free if that's what you choose to do. I have greatly appreciate all the support. And any and all support is appreciated, whether you're lurking, watching, liking, super chatting, gifting members. I don't care. I'm just happy you're here. So that's all that matters to me. So thank you so much. So I hope you enjoy Super Mario Brothers. I get to see it tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Magnum North says the Dems will push Biden under the bus once it's convenient. Oh, of course they would. Of course they would. Tazi says, I strongly suggest chat and our two good brothers here to watch Riding the Dragon on YouTube. Biden is absolute poison, as if we already knew. Yeah, it's not even Biden at this point. It's the people behind the operation. Biden doesn't even know what the hell's going on. Biden has no idea what's going on. Yeah. Let's see. Flag Ninja, Joe Biden equals the President Benson from Hot Shots. Bill Clinton, Z-Herb, says Trump is getting trumped up on charges. That's ironic. DM says, chat, let's see. Give our real leader slack. Been through hell. 100%. Flag Ninja, I will never forgive Biden for the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. That was awful,
tragedy.
Man.
Yeah, tragedy.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
You had I was actually watching, you know who has a really great podcast? The author of the Terminal List books. So
Jack Carr. Jack Carr
has a great, so he had Kurt Schlichter on his show. Kurt Schlichter writes for townhall.com. Dude is super based. I started reading his articles. I'm like, this dude's my spirit animal, man. He says everything that's on my mind. So they talked about that, and he's actually a lawyer now. He's a retired lieutenant colonel or colonel from the Army, and he represented one of the families of one of the soldiers that got killed there at the end by that suicide bomb. And they just it's going through that process of finding out more about what happened. He was like, it was a total clusterfuck, man. It was a debacle. They knew that shit was going to happen. They had no way to guarantee security there. And this is something that we saw coming from a mile away. Like, they chose to go to Kabul when they had an air base a few miles away that was fortified for years, that the U.S. had been using as the primary base. And no, let's just go to the main airport there. And you got American troops dying. And then you have people climbing onto jets, and that's going to be one of the worst images that you're ever going to see in American history. Like in Vietnam, when they were dumping the helicopters off board and leaving Vietnam, you see people like in the wheel wells of C-17 cargo jets and falling to their death. And you're like, this is a total disaster. This is an embarrassment for the United States. And, you know, it's like, this is just like the Soviet Union. We hated on the Soviet Union for their failure in Afghanistan. The U.S. is basically the same thing now because of that. And we wasted 20 years there. And all the soldiers there that we lost, you know, too, and the blood and treasure. And it's like, well, what was it for at that point? And we left all those weapons. So,
yeah. And I wish I could play the clip, but it's like, I know, like, it's a scene in Crimson Tide where they're talking about like, you know, talking about where they're talking about nuclear war and all this and war and what's the true enemy and all this stuff. And, you know, I love Denzel's answer in that. Like, Crimson Tide is a very underrated Denzel movie. Gene Hackman and Denzel, like, that's some of the best acting you'll ever see, and the powerhouse performances of that. But that reminds me, it's like war in general, man. It's just horrible. War is not good for anyone except for the powerful politicians that are trying to push the bullshit. Sad but true. Where am I at? Celluloid Dream. Rolo, push that LPVO. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so everybody's been going crazy because last week, obviously, the tragedy in Nashville, but everybody was watching the body camera footage from the cops, the Nashville police there, and the And the main guy that everybody's been kind of raving about his AR-15 setup, where he's got his AR-15. It looks like almost like a competition setup. He's got an LPVO, which is a scope that can go from like 0 power all the way to like, 6, 8, 10 power. So it's great because you can use it at 0 power like a normal red dot, or you can use it as a long range scope. So it's got a handle on it. And then he also had like an offset red dot anyway. So you could, turn the gun over and use a red dot and keep the LPVO at like a higher magnification, switch the two. So people have been kind of raving like, oh, dude, that setup is awesome. I was like, yeah, that's how I got my AR-15 setup, bro. Yeah. I got the LPVO with the offset 45 too. I was like, that's the way I've been doing it for years, man.
Nice.
And then we got the shotgun too. We got the tactical shotgun back there that we just got this week. I'm excited to go to the range.
Rolo knows his stuff. Spandan Semaran says, if Ron goes through the same judicial warfare, will he fall in line or fight till the end? Swamp will eat him up. I don't think anybody's built like Trump. So, so I don't think anybody can go through it, much less DeSantis. I mean, once upon a time, I had a lot of belief in DeSantis, not so much. So, what state is Rolo in? He is in the great state of Florida,
right here.
So
I'm not that far from G&G HQ.
He's not. He's very close. Him and Joe moved here because of how much they believe in G&G. How about that?
Yep.
So, Maticus Finch for 5 says, check out the video where Newt Gingrich says Trump is not part of the secret society. The channel is on called Last Name Are, only a minute long. Oh yeah, that's an old clip of Newt Gingrich saying that, if I'm not mistaken. Unless there's a newer clip of it. I recall that being from a few years ago. And then we got Groovy Lava Squirrel Medic says they decided to persecute to get to the Transformer mass murder, the mass murder out of the news. Not a peep anymore. Yeah, that. Oh, I as I said, I think it's more about January 6th.
Yep.
Than anything. January 6th narrative, complete. Like the day that Jacob Chansley got let out of prison, they indicted Trump. Yep. The literal day. Like, come on, man. Holy crap. It's just insane. The literal day that Jacob Chansley gets released, they indict Trump. Unbelievable. Free men die free. This is why people need to listen to more libertarians. The rules have changed. You can't be obedient to get out of any tyranny. We're under attack. The Lost Tales, demons in human skin. Disgusting. Good old Alex Jones. Exquisite vibes. Hey, Jeremy, I hope you reach 300,000 subs someday. Random question. What are your thoughts on what were your thoughts on Sarah Palin as vice president nominee back in 2008? P.S. Do you like coconuts? I hated Sarah Palin. I hated her.
Good.
I hated her with passion. Probably not as bad as I hate Kamala Harris, but I despise Sarah Palin as the vice presidential nominee. And I don't like coconuts. Magnum Norse. Oh, and thank you. Hopefully this channel continues to grow. So.
That family's been a disaster, bro. Like ever since she was the candidate. Oh, man.
She was just,
man, I feel bad for her kids. That was crazy.
Yeah. She was awful. She was awful. Let's see. Magnum Norse says, let's see. Subjugation of Western life. I hope I said that the right way. Mugsikins. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I'm actually moving out of the city this week because of this nonsense. I'm moving on to acreage instead. So Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I've heard good things about Alberta, but again, I don't know. All I know. Oh, go ahead.
Supposedly the Texas of Canada, but I don't know what that means. So does that mean that's like slightly less crazy or super actually based? But
yeah,
that's why I've heard it's the more conservative, the most conservative of all the provinces.
All I know is that this is the most Canadian picture in the history of pictures. Okay. And I've said this for a long time. There's only one person that I respect in Canada anyway, and it's this guy right here. All right. This is the most Canadian picture in the history of Canadian pictures right here. That's it. That's the most Canadian picture ever. Bret the Hitman Hart in some like acid washed jeans back in the like 80s, 90s with the mountains in the back and the snow. That is Canada right there. That's the Canada. Make Canada great again. Make Canada great again. Brett the Hitman Hart should be the president or the prime minister of Canada. Make Canada great again right there. So yeah, that's the most Canadian picture ever.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh man, fucking Brett the Hitman Hart. I do want to hear this video from Alex Stein. So Lost Tales has shared this video.
Ooh.
And it's called Alex Stein, obviously in New York, and this is he's on with InfoWars. So let's listen to this Alex Stein right here.
Around the courthouse was kind of how you expected. A lot of people, like all the mainstream media, was just looking for Donald Trump, wanting to, you know, try to get the one shot of him walking in the building. So like all the hungry media were out there. That was, you know, kind of interesting to see. And then there was a lot of supporters. I mean, yesterday I was there and there's only a few quote unquote counter protesters on, but most of the people there were fans of Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even say it was just fans. Even the people that don't like Donald Trump there knew it was a sham. Like the homeless people that were walking by, the crackheads on the street, those people were like, this is a joke. So if those people that are high on fentanyl know that this is a waste of resources, and I think the American people will feel that same way.
Well, and I always try to draw myself back, whether it's from my own bias or my own bubble or my own worldview. And because, you know, we all tend to do that. And I'm thinking, how does this look to the bigger picture? How does this look to the average American that, quite frankly, is just not informed and they just don't really care about politics? But they're going to see this. They're going to see Trump getting arrested. And I think the average American response is going to be, this is persecution. This is bullcrap. Trump is the bad guy. Trump's not the problem in D.C. I might not like Trump, but I know he's not the problem. Is that what you think is going on here? Because that's what I think is going on.
Well, I don't want to be doom-pilled or black-pilled, but I think this will give a lot of the people that are moderate something to hang their hat on. They're going to say, oh, Donald Trump was charged with a crime, so he's a criminal. So I think some of those, you know, soft-brained people actually will be convinced by this, and they'll think Donald Trump is, you know, some sort of evil person. But the people that are actually paying attention, it's going to radicalize them. It's similar to Roe versus Wade. When they overturned that and we thought there was going to be a red wave, it kind of radicalized the last forgotten vote. So I think this is going to radicalize the right even more so. I mean, we were radicalized with Pizzagate, Jeffrey Epstein, all the, you know, elite people that are doing terrible things. So we were kind of radicalized by that in 2016. We thought, oh, it's not going to happen to us. But now the people that are actually paying attention, they're seeing the illegal persecution of Donald Trump. When you look at Joe Biden's illegal business deals in the Ukraine, you look at Hillary Clinton's kill list, you look at Barack Obama's married to a boy, more than likely. I'm just saying there's a lot of other things that we should be covering. Not just Barack Obama's married to a boy, more than likely. You look at Hillary Clinton's kill list, you look at Barack Obama's married to a boy, more than likely. I'm just saying there's a lot of other things.
To a boy, most likely.
Not
he says it so serious. I love it. He just says it so.
I mean, a potential World War III situation where the U.S. has no allies. I mean, literally all of our allies are abandoning us now. Japan just abandoned us. I mean, we have no allies anymore. Joe Biden has. We have no allies. If a world war breaks out, I don't know what America does. Quite frankly, I mean, so that's a situation. And the U.S. dollar is potentially on the verge of collapsing. Because now all these other countries are deciding, hey, you know what, we're going to deal in the Chinese yuan. Or
y'all are crushing Owen's beard, man. Damn, y'all have been ruthless on Owen's beard. Holy shit, I can't grow a beard like that. So,
damn,
that is Owen Schroyer of InfoWars. Y'all have been roasting his fucking beard since I started this.
We're going to deal in the ruble, or we're going to deal in Indian currency. And so this is, I mean, people don't even understand how big of a deal this is. And only Trump is the president that can get in there and maybe try to reverse course on this and get us back on track where we need to be as far as geopolitically. But I think that the American person, you know, the soft people, like, look at it like this, because I feel like this is 2016 all over again. And let's not forget that most conservative media was against Donald Trump. The Republican Party was against Donald Trump. The political landscape has changed entirely heading into 2024. Now, most of the Republican media is going to be supporting Trump. And even though the establishment GOP might be against him, it's not a whirlwind.
Yeah, but Owen, this is the problem: is we don't have any allies, but none of that matters because the only thing America still produces are bombs, our weapons, caliber, Raytheon. Those are basically the only industries that we have left as a country. So if there's any war, even if we don't have any allies, we're going to be the ones selling them all the bombs. So that's why the multinational corporations love the war. And then you talk about how weak we're getting. Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, he was actually loved by his people. He was loved by his people. Gosh, you just lost me.
No, we got you. We got you.
Sorry about that. And we're having internet issues. Okay, my point is Muammar Gaddafi. I want to talk about this real quick. In Libya, I know we got to go to break. He tried to take them off the African dinar and put them on, they tried to take them off the American gold standard and put them on.
What the hell? Kevin dropped 20 gifted memberships. I missed that earlier. Kevin with 20 gifted memberships. 20. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you dropping bombs as always.
On the African dinar. And that's why they killed them, and that's why there's slave auctions in Libya today.
Except it's not going to be Libya and Hillary Clinton laughing about how they killed Gaddafi. It's going to be Putin. It's going to be Xi. It's going to be the Saudis. It's going to be India and now Japan.
I got to hear more about Japan, what he's talking about. But for people that are wondering about what they mean about U.S. allies, you have to. While all this other crap is going on domestically, China's been wheeling and dealing. First, Xi went to Moscow to talk with Putin and increase their strategic alliance or to strengthen their strategic alliance. Then the Chinese did something that the U.S. has never been able to do, which is they brokered basically a peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And if you understand, Saudi Arabia has been in Yemen for years now. The U.S. has been providing them with weapons. They've been dealing with basically the civil war there, and Iran has been funding the insurgency there, or the rebellion against Saudi Arabia there. So they've hated each other. So the fact that China pulled this off, and that Saudi Arabia and Iran are like, oh yeah, we'll sell you oil using the yuan, not the dollar. That's a huge paradigm shift, and that helps China with the one thing they don't have. They don't have oil, which they need a ton of, especially if they want their military to be powerful and to be able to invade Taiwan and do things like that and project power, maybe fight against India, which has historically been kind of a pain in the ass for them. They've had border disputes for the last few years. So this is all a big deal. This is what's going on in the background, and this is what's been going on while we wasted 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan and fighting against a bunch of primitive soldiers, let's be honest, while Russia's not as good as we thought they were. I don't know how Ukraine is really going, but it's safe to say that Russia could not fight against the U.S. head on. I think that's pretty safe to say. But they have created a military to fight against the United States, not against Russia, not against anybody else. They see what our strengths and weaknesses are, and they've created a military to fight. It's unproven. So, I don't know, maybe they'll suck, but this is what they've been working on. They're trying to make sure that if they can decouple from the U.S. and even if we stop trade with them eventually, they're going to have a bunch of other allies in the BRICS economic alliance to try to go to.
Yep.
So those are the big picture things that while we're dealing with this bullshit over here, our enemies are taking advantage of our weakness.
And we got a lot of them. I'm 19, says Bailey, and you've opened my eyes to Trump. Thank you. Thank you. For listening. And yes, Trump is you guys know how I feel about Trump, so it's not so surprising. Darth Gorbag for $9.99 on Streamlabs. I've been really enjoying CobraCast IRL streams. Glad to finally catch one live. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Appreciate you right back. Thank you so much for that. We got Anthony for a 50. Says Australian politics is going to master Australian people. Labor is killing the economy here in Australia. They're trying to force the voice to Australian people. They don't want the voice of woke. You need to call it out, please. I hear you, man. And Anthony's been trying to send me a bunch of stuff, and I've been trying to keep up with that. I know you got your podcast, buddy, and you had your birthday. So keep me as informed as you can, because for me, it's like I'm way over here in the U.S. I don't know much about what's going on in Australia, but I appreciate you trying to keep me informed, man. And thank you for the super chat as always.
Yeah, Chris has the other point that I would make with anybody. Even if China's not proven the U.S., we don't like to lose troops, and we're not used to losing tons of troops. Like even in the war on terror, we lost something like 5,000 troops, I think, KIA almost. That's a lot less than Vietnam. Vietnam was like 67,000. World War II was like hundreds of thousands of casualties. So we haven't felt that in years. So let's say you fight, the Chinese aren't going to care. They're going to send thousands of dudes. Like that's what they're going to do. And if thousands of them die in one battle, they're not going to care. They will do that to take out like one American aircraft carrier. And if we lose one of those, like that's 5,000 sailors. I think the U.S. would be like, shit, we're not ready for this crap. Like I don't think we want to do this. Are we willing to lose that much in the fight? I think China is willing to lose. They're willing to go for broke. I don't know if the U.S. is willing to do that. So just because of how weak we've gotten in a lot of cases.
This is part 2 of the clip, so we'll play this from here. And thanks to Lost Tales for putting this together. Appreciate you.
It just shows you who the real president is. Nobody gives a damn that Joe Biden is napping, 20 hours of the day or whatever, or they have to lure him to work with.
I'm going to let you listen to this, and I'm going to refill my water. I'll be right back.
Relevant.
Well, let's put on our tinfoil hats. We are on InfoWars. Let's go full conspiracy mode. Now we have we have the transgender shooter is dominating the news. Now we have Transgender Awareness Week, where basically all of the people that are just so pro progressivism and so pro social justice, everything they stand for became a school shooter. Like literally the whole embodiment of the trans movement, a person that the media can't even label correctly. They don't know whether to call them their boy name or their girl name, but this is like who they love, the trans community. And they go on and they kill 6 people. They kill 3 kids. They kill 3 adults in a school, and they want to try to take away your guns because of that. So that's dominating the news, and it's making everybody on the right look correct when we say, oh, there's a serious mental health issue with a lot of these transgender people. So as soon as all of that blows up, conveniently,
right, I'm back.
Even though right before they announced that they were going to indict Trump, they said that they weren't going to reconvene for a month, and that it was probably going to be a month later. So I just think it's very unusual timing. And just like you said, nobody's talking about Joe Biden. All we're talking about is Donald Trump. So they're doing this to distract us from what we really should be paying attention to.
Yeah, and then there's no...
What points? So did they talk about the stuff that they talked about at the end of the first video yet?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Doubt that this is a major moment in American history. It is a huge story, the political persecution. Most people, I think, are starting to understand that. But what are we missing? We're missing all the damage being done right now by this Biden administration. The big story here is that the entire world has basically moved on from the United States. I don't know how else to put this. Mm-hmm. All these foreign countries are no longer dealing in the U.S. dollar. That's what kept it strong. The petrodollar collapsing. We don't even make oil anymore. So now OPEC is in complete control of, most of the energy production and distribution when it comes to gas. And even Japan has now said, okay, well, Joe Biden is asleep. I can't even get a hold of him. So I guess we're going to start to work with China and India now, too.
Yeah, like it's just, oh, man, how bad does it have to get before the people in the middle are going to wake up and realize it? Like, again, Rolo's not even like a Trump guy, like at least originally. You know what I mean? And I think you've got a lot of criticisms in terms, and I'm talking about previously, but it's like now you've seen how bad things have gotten, and you're like, yeah, I got to support Trump. Like, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm gonna stop sharing it. Thank you, Lost Tales. But like, we are at a point in time where if something drastic does not happen, then I think that the future of our country is on the line in 2024. And I think that probably sounds kind of like crazy but it's true. Like it's a breaking point right now. And like tonight I saw this one really quick. And the reason I want to stop sharing that is because there was something else that I have not watched this yet, but I did bookmark it. So let me pull the bookmark up. And like, we need strong fucking leadership. And so you know who was at Mar-a-Lago tonight? Carrie Lake was there, and I haven't heard what she had to say, but she's been like Trump's #1 supporter. So let's hear what she has to say.
Everybody step aside.
I love these people. Wow. It's amazing, Brian.
Well,
hi, RSBN.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you,
here.
RSBN. You've been everywhere today.
I think I've ever gone from New York to West Palm Beach. She did win.
You're right. They're saying
they're carrying one. Yeah, it's been a long day for us, but we're here. We're glad to see you. Obviously, when you walked in here, people, they know you're here. They love you. And what does it mean to be back here?
You know what they love? They love fighters. They love people who are willing to stand up in this critical moment in our country and frankly in our world and do the right thing. And that's why they love Marjorie. That's why they love President Trump. That's why they love me. That's why they love the fighters out there. We're not going to back down.
She's badass, man. Carrie Lake is
liked her.
badass. She's a badass. And that's what you got to have right now. So there's no room for cowards. There's no room for fence sitters and all of that. They're just not. Oh, I saw this tweet earlier as well. Bragg indicted a former president for the first time ever. The former president is running for office again. Bragg refused to include the legal basis for the felony in the unprecedented indictment. He bragged at his press conference he didn't have to. Are you kidding us?
That's
This is where we're at.
Yeah.
This is wild. This is wild beyond belief that we have found ourselves in this situation. But yet here we are right now, and it ain't gonna get no better.
See, look, I mean, this violates the Sixth Amendment. What Bragg did. So for everybody that wants to know what the Sixth Amendment is, Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal defendants. It includes the right to a public trial without a necessary delay, which, I mean, he's going to wait forever until December. The right to a lawyer, the right to an impartial jury, and the right to know who your accusers are and the nature of the charges and evidence against you.
And it's all, like I said, so earlier you're talking about is this a conflict of interest? It's like, yes, every rule in the book is being broken right now to try to get Trump. Like every rule in the book is being broken. And that's the problem with it. All right, I got to catch up with super chats. We're not going to be here much longer because me and Rollo's been live already for 5 hours or 4 hours earlier. And this is my 4th live stream of the day. And I got Keys and Gamers Daily tomorrow. Then we got Mario. Keck Lord Gray for 5. Thank you. Jake CB. Does South Park predict the future Canada-U.S. war? I don't know. I don't watch South Park regularly. They do a good job of predicting things. Keck Lord Gray, Satan is laughing at us. Magnum Norris says the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. It's that simple. It's that simple. Marcus Henry, Rollo is on point. Bring him on here more, please. You guys want to see more Rollo on CobraCast? I like having Rollo. I think it's a perfect blend. You've got Rollo's got a lot of knowledge of stuff that I don't have, and I'm obviously super passionate on the Trump side. I think it's a perfect perfect kind of balancing act here. Anthony, have you heard about Australian The Voice? It's a woke propaganda. If you are going to talk about Australian politics on here as well, I have not. But I can look into that. $1 for $1 says, have you seen the YouTuber John Doyle? He's based. I am not familiar with that. I am not familiar with that YouTuber. Let me see. Where did it go? It jumped on me again. There we go. Flag Ninja. Take my money anyway. Well, thank you. I certainly will. Rollo, make sure you're dropping links to your channel, man. So, let's see. There's Kevin's 20 gifted D-Day Cobra memberships. Bryce Burley says, take my money too. I will gladly take your money as long as you have money to give, but in no way, shape, or form are you obligated to give me your money. Anthony, Australian politics. Is that? Yeah, Australian politics. Oh yeah, I think you sent that one twice, Anthony. I think you sent the same super chat twice for $10. So I hope I hope you didn't make that mistake. Off course, overland, ready for Trump's return. I live in Oregon and I have to deal with all of this madness constantly. Make Antifa afraid again. Absolutely. DM says terminal list. Yes. Ron didn't protect his citizen. Terminal list is fantastic. Love it. Can't wait for season 2. Nope. Says one of the helicopters used to evacuate. What is this? Oh, Bat Goat. Okay. Jeez, there's so many things happening. One of the helicopters used to evacuate Saigon was used during the evacuation in Afghanistan. It was left behind the airport in Kabul.
No way. Really? It was that old? Holy crap.
Wow.
It's like a CH-53 or something. That's awesome.
Jesse Hadley says, D-Day Cobra is the GOAT. Love watching your takes, and PR Puerto Rican Pistolero is rocking it with Geeks and Gamers. Hashtag Make America Great Again. I knew you guys would like Rolo on here. Rolo's good peeps. So in this channel, this show has grown since you were on here last time.
Oh yeah,
so more people are getting to know you, man. So Flag Ninja says, do you think mandatory military service would improve American culture? Yes.
It would.
I'm not saying I'm for that, okay? Because
it would also be it would be anti-American in a lot of ways because we don't want to be drafted or anything like that.
Right.
That's
right.
Americans are like, no, man, I don't want to have to do that. So the libertarian in me says no.
I'm not
do it, but it would help a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm not personally for it, but to answer the question, yes, I think it would improve it. I'm just not for it. I'm just not for it. Big Wig Cthulhu says, as a quote, the Democrats need to be stopped is something they want people to start saying. Should probably be uniparty, but still. I hear you on that. You say a lot of people are saying no, it wouldn't improve American culture.
Well, I think you don't want it. I think, again, it's for some people. You got to listen to, I think it depends on how you do it. Israel does it. South Korea does it. There are a lot of countries that do, but I think
not today's. Hang on. Some people are saying not today's one. No. Obviously, no. But I'm saying, look, I'm not thinking we'd be in this position right now.
Yeah, and
if a lot of these people had to actually some discipline in their lives. So again, no, I'm not for it. But in the theory, I do think that the structure and everything it takes to go through the military, I think that would definitely develop these weak-minded, pathetic losers that we have much better than their parents and how they failed them. But go ahead, Rolo.
Yeah, I mean, I also think the U.S. is just way too big, man. Like we've got maybe like 3 million people in arms in a country that's got like 360 something million people or more. So I mean, it would be a total lottery, tuna crapshoot. So
yeah, 100%. Somebody else says removing social media would help that too. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Magnor says, take you dome out your hole. Is this another meme? I don't know. I have no idea. Bird Up says China and the WEF globalists have been trying to pull Japan from us for a while. I think that's why Shinzo Abe was taken out. This is why they don't like Trump messed up so many of their plans. He messed up so many of their plans. Back Goat for 5 D-Day Cobra memberships. Thank you so much. J-Rock says more Rolo. And on an unrelated subject, more Brie Larson feet. Hashtag BLFM. We can save them. We have the technology. No. Stacey S says, don't forget the next presidential administration will control how AI is used. Let that sink in. That is quite terrifying because I'll be honest, man. I think the AI stuff is, we're heading down we are in some dangerous territory right now.
That's gonna be bad if we don't take ourselves out first. I think the AI will take care of it.
Yeah,
especially depending on who makes the most powerful AI and what does it think? Like, what are its values going to be? Is it going to censor people, or is it going to think that humans are unworthy? Because I mean, look, people think about like, well, AI is going to be so different than anything else, and I was like, maybe, but you got to base it on the only intelligent being that you know, and that's going to be a human. So what else are you going to base an AI off of? A completely machine way of learning? It's not going to necessarily work. We're the only reference point on intelligence that we have. So
scary as hell. Peace says, greetings from India. China is economic power, not military power, not yet. Last war China fought was 1979. Current PLA is inexperienced. Well, thank you from all the way from India. Thank you. Greatly appreciate you tuning in and for your super chat. It's crazy to me that there are people in India that are watching right now. So awesome. Thank you so very much for that. I really appreciate it. Kevin McAllister. Kevin McAllister's here from Home Alone. Today I saw this is a quote. Today I saw a slave become more powerful than the Emperor of Rome. From Gladiator comes to mind. Bragg martyred Trump with this. Yes, Donald Trump has never been more powerful, more popular, and MAGA has never been more united than it is in this moment in time. That is a fact. That is a fact, and that should be a scary fact for all of these freaks out there. 100% should. We We got Dollar for Dollar says Sports Wars greater than ESPN. Love what you're doing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ryan's doing a fantastic job. Bear's doing a fantastic job over there. Magnum Norris. AI will be dictated by a psychopath in San Francisco. Scary, but probably true. Alley Cat for 99-cent super chat. Thank you. Appreciate that. And we're going to have to call it. We're going to have to call it because I am tired and I've got a long day tomorrow. Because I got Geeks Gamers Daily tomorrow, which today we had like 2,700 people watching Geeks Gamers Daily, which was stupid. We had a record-breaking main event tonight. CobraCast has been off the charts. Everything we're doing is good. Rolo and Joe have had great streams over on Locked and Loaded Latinos. Yep. Let them know where they can find you.
Yes. Locked and Loaded Latinos on Twitter, YouTube, and everywhere else, Instagram. Even though Instagram is basically destroyed gun content entirely. If you try to make a post showing guns, it's going to say, we won't show this to anybody that's not already a follower of yours. So unfortunately, that's dead over there, but that's where we got started. So we'll always just watch over there every once in a while. But yeah, YouTube is where it's at. We do game streams. We talk. We have a live show every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Hell yeah. So this is obviously a special CobraCast because I don't do it normally on Tuesday, so there's no beer shame tonight. Kevin just dropped 10 more D-Day Cobra memberships. You freaking legend, Kevin. I appreciate you. We're not doing the political stream tomorrow because so the reason I pushed Mario to 2:30 because we have to do Geeks and Gamers Daily. So I'm not going to be able to do the political stream tomorrow. We're not doing Fortnite tomorrow because Rolo and Joe are going to see Mario later on in the evening because they work during the day. So our schedules are crazy right now.
Yeah, that's so
but they are. So we're trying our best to give you guys as much content as humanly possible. So thank you so much for that. And again, thank you to the gifted memberships as well. We're almost at 50 for this stream. This quick little stream almost got 50 new members. We're at 43. You crazies. And I love it. Magnum Norris. Thanks, Cobra. I love this joint, and I love you right back, Magnum Norris. So I appreciate it. I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow for Geeks and Gamers Daily, and we're going to talk about all this other stuff going on. So shout out to the Snake Pit. Shout out to the Discord over there. Appreciate you guys keeping me fed with as much content as I can possibly check out. And obviously, I can't get to most of it, but at least you're giving me options. And options are better than having nothing. So thank you for giving me the options. Thank you for making this show so much fun. And I just can't believe how good CobraCast has turned out. And I ain't going nowhere. So you guys have a great night. Snake Pit, rise up, and we will talk to all of you a little bit later. Good night, everyone. Bye.